What an absolutely crazy day in the NFL this past 24 hours has been. My name's Daniel Harms of RGR Football, and I tell you what, guys, this was something that maybe we had our eyes on. Something would happen with Denver, but there was two moves that actually impacted the Chiefs' chances in the AFC West next year. One to a much greater extent than the other one. The Russell Wilson trade between the Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks really tells you, one, they're out there to win. I think that we kind of thought the Broncos could be a quarterback away with that defense that they have, the weapons they have, the everything they have really kind of there in Denver. They didn't have to give up a whole lot. I think that Noah Fant is a good player, but they clearly think in a high amount of Albert O. I apologize for not saying his last name because I can't really pronounce it right now, so that's my own fault. But I think it's Albert Ogowebanam, but if I could be wrong about that. They have a pretty good idea of what he's going to be able to do in Denver, and now Russell Wilson makes them a contender in the AFC West. Regardless of what happens there, you have three teams now above the lowly, lowly Las Vegas Raiders, who are about to extend, we assume, Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is an underrated quarterback, but now he's in a three-headed monster division that he has to raise himself up to try to win. It's just not going to happen. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Russell Wilson in this division signal the AFC is the dominant quarterback division. The dominant quarterback conference. It already was that way, especially with the young players. But now, adding Russell Wilson to that whole, it changes the whole dynamic. They gave up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and then 3 veteran players, including Shelby Harris and Noah Fant. I forget the other player, but it wasn't very important to that whole thing. They were able to keep their younger players. But again, you're giving up 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 3 veterans for a quarterback who I think that Russell Wilson's still a top 12, 10 quarterback in the NFL. He hasn't been really that top level elite player in a while now, but he also got hurt last year. So I think that there's some things to do there. How is this going to impact the Chiefs, okay? I do believe that their defense, even with the loss of Shelby Harris, they have Draymond Jones to kind of they're hoping, I would assume, to kind of help take that mantle on a little bit and probably fill out some of your defensive ends and defense tackles with some late day 2 and day 3 picks. So they're going to have some shuffling around to do, but they do still have a very good secondary. They have to figure out some linebackers for it, but I think that they have the makings of a team that can challenge in the AFC West and try to really, if you look at it, this is all about the Chargers and Broncos trying to take wins away from the Chiefs. That's pretty much what this is. You're seeing how the dynamics of the AFC West are written out. The Chiefs have won the past, 5 or 6 now? I lost track because they've been doing nothing but winning. So they're out to get Kansas City. That's what this is all about. Again, I do think that it's a bit much. I think that was a little bit too much to trade away for Russell Wilson. Now, if that was Deshaun Watson and he had been cleared of everything, then maybe I get it. But still, I think you have some issues with giving all of that up for a quarterback who is probably still the 3rd best quarterback in this division. And I get you're trying to improve and not have to draft because they can't draft in Denver. They can't draft the quarterback, so it immediately improves them. And if you have the quarterback, we talk about this all the time in the NFL. You have the quarterback, you can figure everything else out. You can figure it all out later. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get the quarterback so they can figure everything else out. I do believe that Russell Wilson will elevate them in this division and in the AFC. They could still be a wild card team next year. The AFC West could have the division winner and 3 wild card teams. That's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. I feel pretty bad for the Seattle Seahawks. They went ahead and decided they were going to keep their 70-year-old head coach and then decide to tear everything else down. They brought back, Rashad Penny. They released Bobby Wagner. They traded away Russell Wilson. They left their, wide receivers high and dry because you got Drew Lock coming back. Unless you're going to go get a young quarterback, possibly trading up in this draft to get a Malik Willis, because I don't think he's going to be there at 9 or something like that, or maybe trying to package things if things clear out with Deshaun Watson. That's maybe what they're trying to do, but this is, I don't really know how to describe it from this. I feel bad for Seahawks fans. Like, you get into, it was Drew Lock who was the other player. That's who it was. And see, that's why it left my brain, because he's not a very good player. Like the two guys that they got on top of the trade with Drew Lock were actually good players. But Lock is not going to be a guy who should start. I think I would start Geno Smith over him, who started last year a couple games for them. I would definitely do that. So I feel pretty bad for them. And then when you look at the landscape of the AFC West, okay, I do think this maybe not throws a wrench in the Chiefs' plans to win the AFC West. They still will be the favorites. I think they're still going to be favored to win the Super Bowl. But Russell Wilson does add a different dynamic. These games are all going to be played like in primetime afternoon games. It makes it more exciting, I will say that. Over to the Chargers, who, during all this shuffle, decided to bring back Mike Williams for $20 million a season? I just want everyone to kind of think about that. Mike Williams, who, in my opinion, is a fine receiver, maybe top 25 in the league, he does not deserve a $20 million contract. So, while the Denver Broncos are overpaying for a quarterback to try and make their team better, the Chargers are overpaying for a receiver who, honestly, they could have drafted the replacement for last year in Josh Palmer, but they bring him back, Mike Williams, and then you take away snaps from Josh Palmer. And I do think that you're still going to find them looking to draft a wide receiver with speed in the draft, but you have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, two guys that aren't speed guys. And now one of them's making $20 million, the other one's making above 15, I think. You're hamstringing yourself with two receivers that are getting older. One's over 30, the other one is inching up on 30. Like, that's bad business. So I think you have two teams that are trying to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they found themselves having to overpay to try and do so. So at the end of the day, we see the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes' contract starting to pay some dividends because they have a lot of wiggle room with that. So they can start moving some pieces around, making things happen. At the end of the day, I think that the Denver Broncos clearly got better. The Chargers are the same, and they ended up losing some money with Mike Williams. But I do think this is going to be a lot of fun to watch from here on out. The AFC West is going to be super competitive, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. I'm hoping the Chiefs do, and I'm hoping it raises the overall level of play that we've seen from them this past year going into 2022. Just a little bit of a breakdown of my thoughts on what happened with the AFC West specifically yesterday. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave anything you want in the comment section. We'll talk it out throughout the rest of the week and into all the way through the offseason. This is going to be a long offseason drawn out with all the things that we have to think about now with Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, and maybe the Raiders, being able to figure something out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys enjoyed the news, kind of laughing at some of the things that had to happen along the way to make it happen. So you guys, just have a great day and go Chiefs.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.